Hey guys, Rhino here, otherwise known as AoE Only for the Win on Twitch. Be sure to check out my Twitch channel down in the description below. I go live and stream these boosts all the time, and I'm here to bring you the ZF solo boost tutorial on a mage. This is a very simple, very straightforward tutorial, but I'm here to teach anyone who might be confused about it. And I went ahead and created a second mage because my other mage was already max level to show you guys the boost on a lower level mage as you're leveling up. Now, a couple things to note here is first off, you're able to do this boost as low as level 40, but I don't typically recommend that, especially if you're not experienced with these types of boosts, as it's going to be a lot more challenging. You'll see on this particular run, I didn't have the best run. I wanted to get one that actually particularly had certain issues, and you'll see that even at level 47, I had a couple complications. So at level 40, it's going to be even more challenging. You can, but it's not going to be the greatest. Typically for this pull, I recommend 44 or higher, and you're able to do this all the way to level 54. Now this tutorial is just for the graveyard pull. Once I hit level 48, 49, I'm going to do a tutorial on how to do the graveyard pull plus the scarabs, which is extra experience, as well as you get an increased chance of getting really good loot. And then I'm going to do that all the way up until 54, when I'll hop over on this guy to Sunken Temple and do that boost to get to level 60. So this boost, again, is very simple. It's one of the more easy ones, especially once you get to the kill phase. This is an extremely easy boost. It might sound complicated at first, but I promise you, once you try this and once you learn this, it's super simple. This is one of the easiest boosts in the game. Super fun, and honestly, I really enjoy doing it. I was really excited to get this mage up to this level so I could start doing this again. Now, when it comes to requirements for this, I'm going to bring up my gear here. I have very simple green gear. My gear is nothing special at all on this character. I was boosted most of the way by doing dungeons, by being run through dungeons, and so a lot of this is just gear that dropped in those dungeons, or there were a couple pieces, I think 3 pieces of gear that I had to buy on the auction house. Ironically, I did actually buy a blue BOE neck that ended up being the first blue BOE that dropped when I started doing these boosts. So this neck that I got, paid 20 gold for, ended up dropping I think on the second pull that I did while doing this boost. When it comes to talents, you're basically just going to want your simple AoE boosting Frost tree. There's nothing super special about this. You don't need anything in the arcane tree, although clear casting can help. Typically, I've never had an issue of running out of mana if I use my evocation. Also, going back to the gear, I do recommend some stamina gear. You'll notice I have a couple pieces in here that have some stamina on them, but you primarily want intellect, and then some spirit will be helpful, but stamina and intellect are going to be your primary go-to pieces of gear. Heading into the actual pull, or sorry, there's also one other thing that I wanted to mention. I forgot that I included this at the beginning. So I have a macro to exit. This is one thing that I never saw in other tutorial videos, is how to exit, because a lot of people just run right back out, and it's a really slow and painful process where you can die and then you have to run all the way back as a ghost. You lose some durability, then you have to run out, reset, and it's a huge pain. The easiest way to get out, at least at the current time of the game, is to use layer macros. And so essentially I create 3 very, very simple macros here. The first one is /join layer. The second one is /5 layer, which is just the numbered chat, which layer would come up as. And then the last one is /leave layer. You technically only would need 1 macro if you're going to stay in layer, and you can just disable it from your chat. I just do this so it's a little bit easier on myself. It doesn't really matter, but these 3 macros I put on my action bar down here. You'll see how I use them at the end. Very simple, very straightforward. Okay, so next is consumables. Really quickly, I didn't hover over this, but I have bandages. I don't ever really need to use these because I use reset spots, so I'm able to just eat food. I have health potions. I end up using one here just as a kind of a lifeline. I probably didn't need it, but you know, when you're getting to the kill spot, sometimes you can have some issues like I have on this pull. Other times I get through scot-free and I'm able to run all the way to the graveyard. It just depends on RNG. And then also have mana potions. These potions drop from the run a lot, so I oftentimes am fine using these consumables because I never have to purchase these. These redrop from the pull multiple times, and I usually end up with more than I ever need it to use. And then if you're using your evocation, you almost never need a mana potion at all. You have plenty of mana to do this whole pull. You're going to want your ice armor to begin with, your arcane intellect, and I put on dampen magic. It helps just because some of the mobs are casters. And then I go ahead and I apply my ice barrier so the cooldown is further along, and then I drink some. You don't need a full mana pool for this part because you're going to be getting to a reset spot as well as getting to the final kill spot. So I'll tell you exactly when you want to drink till full mana. I'm going to be using 3 reset spots here, and the reason is I was actually going to demonstrate this regardless, but I ended up getting dazed here, which was the perfect time to demonstrate the reset spots. Normally I just use the second 2 that you see me use in this video, but in this case I had to use 3 because of the daze that I received, and if you're at a lower level, 42 to 44, you're going to be getting dazed a lot more, so it's safer to use these, but the last 2 are the primary ones that I use. And then once I get to level 50, honestly, sometimes I'm able to run just straight through to the graveyard without needing to stop at all. You're going to follow this path that I take here. Pretty straightforward again. There's nothing super complex about it. I do typically hover towards casters, so you'll see I go towards the left here because that's a caster, so the melee hits are weaker. And then you'll see here is where I end up getting dazed because I got hit I unfortunately had a shadow bolt hit me and then got a melee hit that dazed me. So you just run around these boxes. This is the first reset spot, and unfortunately I got dazed again, which is why I almost died and had to use the health potion. This is extremely rare. This does not happen often at all where I have to use the spot, but I let people know about it. You basically just sit in the back here, and you can sit, but you want to be up against the boxes here in the corner, and that will prevent them from being able to attack you. Very shortly afterwards, like this, they'll reset. Then I reapply my shield, I drink and I eat to get myself back to full, and then I mount up and continue on to the next reset spot, which is shortly after this one. So this next reset spot is the one that I typically use first. In most polls, I go to the left of this wall that I'm up against, but in this case, I did end up having to use this, and I wanted to demonstrate it regardless. This one here is the more common first reset spot. You basically just go and you stand behind these boxes up against it like this. Unfortunately, what you'll see here that happens, that I'm also really happy happened in this video, you'll see them place a totem that starts damaging me. Healing totems and lava sprout totems will both keep you in combat for longer, and so you'll see me pop out real quick and try to break it, and then they end up resetting. But if you don't break the totem, sometimes they'll stay in combat for longer, and you can actually die if the lava sprout totem is in the perfect spot. So here, again, I reapply my shield, I'm going to eat, and then I drink a little bit. Again, you don't need to be full mana at this point, so I just like to have enough mana. I'm going to mount up and continue onward, and you're going to follow this similar pathing here. I hover to the right to pull this mob to my right, and then the Shadowcaster to not pull the group to my left. I run over here and I jump over this vase. That usually allows me to avoid getting hit there. Unfortunately, I still got hit, but in most cases I don't actually get hit there. Continuing onwards, just running past these mobs. When you're going to lose your shield, then you're going to want to start jumping and aiming yourself towards the melee mobs when they're going to hit you, because if they hit you in the front, they're not able to dismount you. So you'll see me do that here on this last mob. Luckily my shield stayed up to the very end, but I knew this guy was going to break my shield, so I jumped, stayed towards him, and then that way I wouldn't have any chance of getting dismounted. Run up here into this corner, and you're going to jump up and head into this corner by the statue. The thing to note with this jump here, and it's a good idea to practice this jump, is to come over here and you want to jump towards the face of the statue a little bit more. A lot of people see that the sand is higher up here towards the middle, towards the right, and so they try to jump up in the corner here, and it's a little bit more challenging to do so. So typically you want to try to jump towards the face of the statue, and it's much easier to get up. Then you just hide in this corner, and it's another reset spot. This is the third and final reset spot before we start doing the pull itself. You're going to wait for the mobs to reset, and then again, you're going to reapply your shield, you're going to heal, you're going to eat to get back to full, and at this point, you still don't need full mana. You're going to want to make sure you still have your ice armor up. The important thing to note here is the first thing you want to do when you're going to start this pull is you're going to want to run up and activate the boss here. You'll hear him yell, and you want to do that because when you activate the graves with the boss activated like that, the zombies will spawn out of the grave, run towards the boss, and then run back to you instead of just straight up attacking you out of the grave. From here, you're just going to right click, you're going to spam click on all of the graves as many times as you can to make sure they all spawn, running past them, and then you're going to go to this reset spot up against or between the vase and the wall. Here's just another simple reset spot. This one's really easy to do. You just walk into, there's no jumps or anything. If they are able to hit you, just move a little bit further in and you're in a safe spot. The one thing that I like to do from this spot when I can is I like to mark the mob that's patrolling nearby. So you'll see me do that here. In this case, it's a Soul Eater. Soul Eaters aren't the most annoying. Usually it's the casters or the Shadow Hunters that are the real pains here if they get involved in the pull. And so then I have that mark so I know where they're at. I let him go past, I reapply my shield, I make sure I'm full health, and then I'm going to continue on by doing the second set of graves here. Same thing here, just spam clicking them to make sure as many of them spawn as possible. And then I always like to try and get greedy and go for this one grave over to the right. You can just go straight to the reset spot again. And basically what I do here, because I've been having an issue, I think because of lower stamina, I've been having an issue of occasionally getting killed here. So you'll see what I do is I jump Nova, I then use my cold snap, and then I jump Nova again just to ensure that there are less mobs that are going to hit me here. I just have had an issue of being killed there, so I like to do it to be safe, and then you can blink into the corner if you need to, but luckily I didn't. Then I jump back into the corner and get back to, you know, letting them reset, get back to full health, and reapplying my shield where needed. This last set of graves is usually the easiest one. I have the least issue here because the pathing that they take, it's very rare that they're ever able to even hit me once. So I'm going to hop down and I'm going to really quickly go through and do these last set of graves. I went over here and I just checked to make sure that this one actually spawned. There wasn't a zombie that spawned there, so I continued onward. But I accidentally had my screen zoomed a little too much here, but that's okay. As long as you're able to click the graves, you're good. Came back up here to the reset spot, and you'll notice right here I switched to Mage Armor. You don't have to switch right then. Just before you start the kill phase, you're going to want to switch to Mage Armor. And then I'm going to scale the statue, which this is really easy to do, but I recommend practicing this if you can. And then I do this jump here into the corner to get up on top of the labyrinth. Now, this took me a couple tries. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. If you need to, you can wait for a reset. You can jump on your mount, and then you can jump up, and you can do it. It's totally fine, super easy. But I've been able to do it just on my, just by running normally. So that's essentially, very simple, but there is no time constraint. That's kind of the important thing there is, even if you're in combat, the combat will reset if you hop up and you're trying to do that jump. So you can try it as many times as you want. Don't freak out. You'll eventually drop combat. You can mount up and jump up. Here I'm making sure that I apply my shield. I have my Mage Armor on. I reapply Dampen Magic. You don't really need that, but it's helpful. I mean, and then I drink up to full mana. It's okay, or there's no reason not to, because you can reset to full mana here. But it's important to have the Dampen Magic because you're going to pull the boss and he'll occasionally cast on you, and he sometimes can hit pretty hard before he resets. And so here you'll notice really quickly, I noticed that the other patrol mob here is walking away. So this is perfect. So this mob's not going to get pulled. Once they reset, once I have all my mana, I pop a rank 1 Blizzard to pull these. Now the important thing to note here, and you'll actually see this happen, is there's two types of mobs here. There's the zombies and then there's the dead heroes, which have a completely different look. They both have social aggro with themselves, but not with each other. So a zombie's not going to social pull a dead hero and vice versa. And so you'll see I actually miss it one dead hero here. Luckily that's okay. I could have tried to pull him if I wanted to, but I decided it wasn't worth it. And so you'll see what I do here. Basically, I pull them with a rank 1, and then I jump over here. You want to make sure that the boss pulls, so he doesn't pull, so I counterspell him there. When you're at a lower level, he's almost always going to pull. I jump down, and I start doing some rank 1 blizzards to pull different groups. So you'll notice this dead hero right here does not aggro because there's no dead heroes near him that are pulled. I usually do a rank 1 right here because there's a group of them that like to camp in this archway. So I do a rank 1 here to pull them. They'll social all the mobs in their way. And then I do another one on the far side over here to get this last group that sometimes miss social aggro. And that usually pulls all, if not, all but one of the mobs. Then you're going to hop over here. This is going to be your kill spot. You're going to jump back and forth. And it's important that you hop over after you pull everybody, because if you stand on this side of the wall, oftentimes a lot of the mobs will reset, not all of them, but you'll end up getting like half or a third of the regular amount of mobs. So as soon as I have them all pulled, I jump and I hop over on this side of the wall. This allows them to run around towards me. I wait till they get close, then I hop back. This gives them a chance to run, the ones near me to run back, the boss to reset, and then when I hop back, the rest of the mobs are going to be coming up, and so then I can start doing the official kill phase. Now here, I like to start off by grouping them up with a rank 1 Blizzard. I do that right here, and then I end up doing another rank 1 Blizzard. You don't have to. The way that you do the kill phase is kind of up to you. Here, if you're jumping back and forth, you're going to be totally fine. I haven't died doing this even once. I've only died doing the pull itself. And so it's really up to you how you want to do it. Some people, they go back and forth by doing a max rank on each side. I like to just do max ranks here, and the reason for that is they spend more time in the circle because of the pathing that they take. So if you take a step out from the wall, so instead of being up against the pillar, if you take a step out, they do this weird routing where they essentially go kind of, they walk down the hill and then they do a loop almost to get up on the wall, and so they spend a lot of time inside the circle taking as much damage as possible, whereas in other places they're going to walk through that circle more quickly and they're not going to get hit by every single tick. When I get them to do that properly, then I do a second max rank Blizzard to get as much damage off. Then I use my highest level gem in order to trigger the cooldown, so if I need the second one, I can use it. And then I go back and I do all of my max ranks on this side, but you can have them going back and forth in order to kill them faster. Honestly, I'm getting like 180k experience an hour from this, so I don't need to go any faster, but you can if you want to. You'll also notice here I'm going to go ahead and use a mana potion, and the reason for that is just because they do replenish, because they drop pretty regularly from these zombies, so it doesn't hurt to use one, but in all honesty, I don't even use my evocation here, so there wasn't much of a need. You don't need the mana potions at all, you can just use the evocation, and in some instances, if you have a good enough mana pool, you're able to time it properly, then you don't even need evocation at all. You can just get it all done in one mana pool. Unfortunately, I did have one zombie leak through there, but as you can see, there's not really much of an issue. One zombie hitting me once isn't likely to kill me, even if he thrashed me. So, felt safe there. And the dead heroes have already died off. The zombies are getting lower on health. Once they get low enough, they start walking really slowly, so then this becomes an absolute cakewalk. And then just going to be finishing them off here. Make sure, the one thing to note here is you want to make sure to try and kill them as close to the wall as possible, because if they're up on the hill up here when they die, you're not able to loot them. And some of them have pretty decent loot, so anytime you're missing out on chances for a good blue or purple BOE that could drop that, could be a solid chunk of money. So I always try to get them killed right in this area here as much as possible, based on where I place my Blizzard when they're getting low on health and where they are when they're walking. So got them all killed. Very simple, very straightforward. Again, didn't have to use evocation. I go through and I loot, and then as early as I can, when I remember to, I use my 3 macros. So I use layer 1, layer 2, then layer 3, which gets me an invite to a group. I leave that group, and then my Hearthstone is set in Gadget Zan, so I'm able to mail anything to my bank alt, and then I'm able to vendor immediately, and then just get right back to the dungeon. I found it to be so much quicker than trying to run out. Even at a higher level, when you're running out, you just run into issues, and you end up, at some point having to clear your inventory, having to go back, and this is just faster for me overall. I've been flying from 43 to 47 super quickly by doing this. I've barely spent any time in the dungeon because I've been leveling so fast. In this case, my Hearthstone was up, so I could have used it, but I wanted to demonstrate this for the tutorial to show you guys what you can do in order to get back to Gadget Zan very quickly, and you don't have to run out. It's the easiest way to get out. One of my issues with a lot of tutorials with dungeons is so many people do a tutorial and they don't show you how to get there, they don't show you how to get out, they just show the pull itself, and I wanted to actually demonstrate that here. So yeah, there really isn't much else to say here. I'm going to get out, I'm going to mail, I'm going to vendor, and then I'm going to just reset and run back to the dungeon. The mobs was 45, which is slightly lower. Typically I get about 50. The experiences was about normal. I mean, it was slightly low because, again, I was missing about 5 elite mobs. And then the experience per hour was low because I was setting up the recording beforehand. Typically these are 10 to 11 minute runs. And so I've been averaging about 180 to 190k per hour experience unrested, which is really quite solid. And then, you know, you can improve from there. You can go faster if you want to, if you're able to figure out ways to go faster using flame strikes, using frost novas, however you want to do it. But that's essentially this tutorial. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can leave them in the comment section below. I'm going to be streaming more once I get back into the swing of things, and I'm going to be streaming some of these boosts, some ZF boosts, some ST boosts, and so on and so forth. So then you can show up, you can see how I do it live in case there's anything that might be confusing about it. And then pretty soon I'm going to be recording and uploading the tutorial doing the same pull but including the scarabs, which again increases the experience and increases the loot. So that's about it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching. Be sure to comment, rate, and subscribe, and as always, have a nice day.